Okay friends, it's time to get started on installing our tonneau cover. The first thing I like to talk about is this panel along here, the one that has the yellow straps on it. The panel with the yellow straps is going to be the forward panel, so it's going to be up along the front of the bed. This corner along here, all the way along there, down to the bottom area is going to be along the front. Now the first thing I'm going to do is just lift this up and put it up and onto the bed. Perfect. Go ahead and put the yellow straps so they're inside of the bed. Once you have it up on here, the next thing we need to pay attention to is these straps along here. Go ahead and unclip them. Now with them both unclipped, let's go ahead and start opening this up. Now the next thing we need to do is pay attention to how it's lining up with everything. You definitely don't want your tonneau cover so it's hanging off of the tailgate, and you also don't want to have it so it's not covering the tailgate. So if it's too far forward, it's going to be like this. Essentially, we're just going to go ahead and draw this back. We're going to have the back end so it comes along the center of the tailgate area, and then we're going to make our way back up to the front. Now let's pay attention to the front area up along here. What we want to do is be essentially pretty flush with this, even just a little bit towards the back, but you definitely don't want to go too far back. Approximately where I have mine is exactly where you want it. Now we need to center the tonneau cover from side to side. So essentially just look along the tonneau cover where it meets up with the bed. Look along the driver's side and then along the passenger side. Once you've done that, go ahead and center it. Now once you have your tonneau cover so it's centered on the pickup bed, along the sides and of course along the front and back, we're going to continue on to opening up the tonneau cover. To do that, I'm just going to grab onto this and we're going to fold it into 3. Now the next thing we need to do is get inside the truck bed. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is get underneath the front of this panel, and we're going to look along the sides here. If you were to look, you're going to find that there's 3 holes on each side of this. The reason for that is because that's where this adjuster is going to go. If you find that for some reason you can't get this to line up with the rib of the bed, what you could do is just go ahead and lift it up, slide it over, and then pull this right out. Go ahead and put it into the next hole, bring it over, lock it in, and then put it onto the rib. For me personally, I'm going to come right here to the outside one, closest to the rib. I'll bring this up so it's hitting, and then of course you tighten up this wing nut. Now what I want to do is make it so this is just barely touching, just loose enough so it's definitely not going to fall off, but not too tight because I might need to make another adjustment once we get this all put together. Let's continue on to doing the other side. Perfect. Still loose enough to move things around if I have to. Now that we have both sides so they're barely snugged, let's continue on to the safety strap. These are going to be super important. You cannot put on your tonneau cover without putting on your safety strap as well. For that, you can just go ahead and loosen this and then unadjust it so you can open it up to fit over the rib. Go ahead and slide it up and onto your rib as far as it's going to go, and then of course latch it down. This one we can make nice and tight. Let's do the same to the other side. Perfect. All right, now let's shut the tailgate and open this up. Now at this point, what you want to do is ensure that everything's lined up the way that you want, because of course it might have gotten moved around when we were starting to put on those front securing points. Ensure that it's along the sides the way that you want it to be, nice and lined up. Mine looks like it could go over a little bit, so I'm just going to go ahead and shift it. Okay, now that we have it completely lined up, let's go ahead and reopen up our tailgate, and we're going to continue on by putting on our rearward latches. Now to easily adjust these, essentially we just kind of want to gauge approximately where we need to be, and then of course if you just hold the top, you can turn this. Once you feel as though it's close enough, go ahead and put it up into where it goes. Lift this like that, that's going to expand this, and then put it under the lip and lock it in. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and tighten this. Now we want to go ahead and grab onto the tonneau cover and give it a nice little wiggle. We want to ensure that it's definitely not loose. If this can lift up and down from the bed of the truck, that's obviously going to be an issue when you're driving down the road. Once it's tight enough, let's continue over the other side and do the same thing. Once you have both of them so they're fully snugged, let's continue on with these clips right here. These are going to be very important because they're going to ensure that this doesn't rattle loose and of course loosen up while you're driving. You're going to want to take the clip and you're going to put it right through the hole along the side here. Go ahead and push it through until it's in the center. There we are. That ensures that there's no way that this can loosen up while we're driving down the road. Do the same to the other side. Okay, so now that we're sure that everything's nice and lined up, we need to get back inside the tailgate and we're going to tighten up all of our mounting points. Now that we have the tonneau cover all lined up, let's go ahead and get back in and tighten it up. Let's just double check to make sure it's definitely on there nice and tight. Ensure that it's centered the way that it needs to be. And now let's have a look at it when it's open. To do that, we're just going to open up the tailgate. Come in here. You're going to pull your safety pins. Release this. Set it aside. I like to have it so it's in the fully open position like this. We're just going to lock this in. Do the same over here. This step's super important. And now, of course, we're going to take our latching straps and lock it in.